Hello everyone, welcome to the CloudLearn AWS Zero to Hero series. This is a day 19 video. In this video, we are going to talk about bucket policies. Already, we are aware of IAM policies, right? What is the IAM policy? What is the use of the IAM policy? By using the policy, you can provide access permissions to the users. So coming to the bucket policies, these policies can be used to grant permissions to S3 bucket and objects in that particular S3 bucket. Let us make it more simple to understand better. Okay, so here, once again, yeah, so here, assume we are having an S3 bucket. So this is the S3 bucket, right? In which I uploaded 10 different files, which 10 different files. By default, By default, all these objects are uploaded as a private. What if you want to allow different users to access these objects? You have to upload all these objects as a public objects. But the problem here is if you upload the object as a private, then to make those objects as a public objects, first you need to enable ACL. With the help of ACL, you can convert each and every object into a public object. Instead, instead, we have a concept called bucket policy, means a policy which we can apply on a bucket, which we can apply on a bucket. What this policy contains, sorry, this policy contains an effect. I will explain all these terms: effect, principle, action, and a resource. These are the things which are included in the bucket policy. What exactly these are? Effect is it can be either allow or a deny. If the effect is allow means access will be allowed. Principle, let us say user one. Action, star. Resource, let us say bucket name or bucket ARN technically. What does this means? Let us say allow. User one will be allowed to access all the resources in a specific bucket. Action star, or there is something called S3 get star, means only read access. User one will be allowed, user one will be allowed to access that particular S3 bucket with read only permission. But what is my requirement? I want to make all the objects public by default. So I can say S3 like this, means principal means to whom you would like to allow. Principal is like to whom you would like to allow. All. Star indicates all. Let me explain in a different way. What is the bucket policy? Let us say there is a building, right? It is a building. And here there is an entry gate, entrance. So here there is a security guard, right? There is a security guard. Let us say there are thousands of people exist in that particular surrounding area. What I do is I will inform this particular security person, allow all. What happens? Whoever tries to enter into the particular building, he will allow all. Or I can say allow only user 1 and user 2. User 1 and user 2 means out of these many people, only user 1 and user 2 will be allowed by this particular security person into this particular building. This is what the bucket policy. What is the IAM policy? Instead of informing the security person, out of these many people, I will give a key to the user 1 and user 2 so that whenever they try to access this particular S3 bucket, they will unlock the door using the key and they will enter. That is the earlier use case. Bucket policy is like we will apply the permissions. We'll apply the policy on the bucket. So whenever a user is trying to access that particular bucket, access will be granted based on the policy which is applied on the S3 bucket. The use case is simple, but the way how you are allowing the users to access the S3 bucket is different with the help of bucket policy. Again, this bucket policy is written in JSON format. But again, no need to worry about like, I don't know coding and how can I create this bucket policy and all, because there is a thing called policy generator by using which we can generate these bucket policies. In the hands-on exercise in this session itself, we will see how can we create a bucket policy and how can we apply that bucket policy on the S3 bucket so that all the objects or the entire bucket will become a public by default. Anybody can access, no need to select public at the time of uploading that particular objects and all. Okay, let me write down 2 or 3 points in a simple way. Then we can do the hands-on exercise. So I can say bucket policy is a resource-based policy which can be used to grant permissions to access S3 bucket and objects in it. And as I said earlier, these bucket policies are written in JSON format, same as our IAM policy. IAM policies are also written in JSON format, JavaScript object notation, but no need to learn, no need to worry. So we can create the bucket policies without knowing how to write JSON. How? With the help of policy generator. I will show you that. Okay, what we do is let us create a bucket policy to allow anonymous user to perform all actions on S3 bucket. Means read, write, delete all. Okay, what are the steps? I would like to go from the scratch. So I don't want to use any existing bucket just to avoid the confusion. Okay, right. So first thing, I will create S3 bucket. I will say the name as bucket policy. And what is the today's date? 29 March 2025 is the name of the bucket which I'm going to create. But at the time of creating the bucket, what I do is I don't want to enable ACL, because if I enable ACL, you might think because of the ACL, the objects will become public. So I don't want to enable ACL, and I will disable block all public access. Why? If I keep enable that, then this option will not allow your bucket policy to make the bucket public. Okay, then upload an object as a private object and confirm that the object is not accessible. Means just we will use the object URL and whenever I try to access the object, you will get access denied error. Then there's the actual thing. Create a bucket policy to make all the objects public. Once we create the bucket policy, we have to check, right, whether the policy is working or not. For that reason, access the object URL and confirm that the objects are public. Okay, right now let us do the practical. So I prefer to use Northern Virginia just to avoid the unnecessary confusion at the end of the month, or else I have to clean up a lot of things. I will stick to a single region. It can be Northern Virginia, it can be Hyderabad, that doesn't matter. Okay, let me switch to the S3. Okay, so here let me click on create bucket. So what is the name of the bucket? We decided this is going to be the name of the bucket. ACLs disabled, and this also I want to disable, and I will keep all options as a default options. The bucket got created. Okay, it is in the process of getting created. Yeah, done. Now let me upload an object. How to upload? Just get into the bucket, click on upload, add files. Okay, here is the file. Okay, with all default options. So obviously the object will be uploaded as a private object. Okay, object got uploaded. You can check here, right? Let me note down the object URL. Let me note down the object URL. So here is the object URL, right? Now let me try to access the object URL. As it is a private object, obviously we will get access denied error. Now it's time to create the bucket policy. How to create the bucket policy? Just go to your bucket, click on the bucket. So can you guess where we can apply the policy? Let me get into the permissions tab here. Can you see an option? Bucket policy, right? So here we need to click on edit. If you know the JSON script, just you can write the code here, JSON code. You can write the JSON code like add new statement, just here, principal, effect, action, everything you can write. But I don't know like how to create the bucket policies and all that because I don't know the JSON script. If you want to check some policy examples, click here. It will open a new tab. It will take you to the AWS documentation page where you can see some example bucket policies. See here, these all are the bucket policies. So let me show you a simple bucket policy which is easy for you to understand. Okay, see here, you can allow a user to read only objects that have a specific tag. Let us say the tag called production yes. Then only those objects should be accessible by a specific user. Username is going to be this, join to hello. Get object and get object version means only read access. On which bucket? This one. This is the name of the bucket, Amazon S3 demo bucket. Slash star means all objects in that particular S3 bucket. Condition. What is the condition? The objects with a tag called environment is a production. Tag means key value pair. Environment is a key, production is the value. Whatever the objects are having this particular tag will be accessed by, I mean, read access will be provided to this particular user called John Doe. Just you can check like that, but I would like to close it. So click on this policy generator. We are about to create our own policy. So what type of policy we are creating? Bucket policy, right? So here choose S3 bucket policy. Effect allow. I want to allow everyone, so I would like to use a star. If you want to allow a single user, then you have to mention the ARN. What is the ARN stands for? Amazon resource name. For everything in the AWS, you will get ARN. You have to paste the ARN of the user. If you go to the username, click on the user, you can see the ARN of the particular user. On which AWS service? Amazon S3. I would like to allow everyone on a specific Amazon S3 service. And I would like to allow what actions? All actions, or you can choose what all actions you would like to allow. Delete, get means read, put means upload, delete means delete, list means just they will list out. They can't open it, they can't see what it contains. Let me choose all actions. On which S3 bucket you would like to allow all users to perform all actions. Don't write the name of the bucket. You have to enter the ARN of the bucket. If you click on the bucket properties, you can see the ARN. See here, this is the ARN of the bucket. Enter that. So here, let me easily mention here, ARN of the S3 bucket. This is the ARN. But I would like to allow all action, I would like to allow access to all objects, which means slash forward slash star. What does this indicates? Access will be provided on all objects of this particular S3 bucket. Actual ARN is this. If you want to allow on a particular object, then I can say object1.jpg. So it means only one object will be allowed to access. Okay, so here let me write down the ARN at the end, / a star. If you want to add some conditions, you can add. If you don't want to apply any conditions, you can ignore it. Then click on add statement. Principal. Everybody will be allowed to perform all actions of S3 related on this particular bucket and all objects of that particular S3 bucket. Click on generate policy. This is the policy. Just copy here, paste it. See here. Action. What is the action? S3 star allow on this particular S3 bucket and all objects of the S3 bucket and allow everyone. Principal means to whom you would like to allow. Okay, click on save changes and done. Let me go back to the buckets. Right now, earlier we have saved the object URL and we tried to access the object and we got access denied, right? Because the object was a private object. Still, the object was uploaded as a private, but the bucket became a public because of the bucket policy. Now let me try. We should be able to open the object. See here. This is how you can use bucket policies to allow the users or to grant permissions to S3 bucket and objects in it so that the required users can access your S3 bucket. You might say, what is the advantage of this? You might say, what is the advantage of this, right? Okay. So here there are two users. Let us say user 1 and user 2. If you want to allow these two users to access this S3 bucket, what you have to do, you need to apply IAM policy here, and you need to apply IAM policy on this user. Instead of this, here you will apply a bucket policy in which you will enter these two usernames so that without attaching any extra IAM policies to these two users, they can access the S3 bucket. That is the advantage of the bucket policy. Not only for public access, you can use this for different combinations. Read only access, read and upload access. That depends on your organizational requirements. Okay, so what I do is I would like to copy the bucket policy and I will include in that particular notes document also just for your reference. Okay, let me copy this. Just you can cross check, right? Yeah. This is about the bucket policies. I hope you understand it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in that comment section so that I can help you. Thank you, everyone.